Welcome to Fangirl Diaries. This is your fangirl host with the most, Danny. And let's get into today's entry.
Hey, Lilia. How you doing?
I'm good.
Did the mic catch that?
I don't know.
Okay. It's a day, isn't it? It's a nice, beautiful. Well, it's dark now, so it's getting dark. So it's a beautiful day earlier. It's a nice day to record a podcast, isn't it? I don't know how to start this episode, to be honest with you. It's gonna be a short one. It's a simple show. It's only 6 episodes. I got through this one really quick. So I guess let's just get into it, huh? We're doing Perfect Propose. Not proposal, propose. And that's what, can I just point out before we pause and we go into the episode? That annoyed me about the whole thing is that I kept calling it Perfect Proposal, even though I know that the A and L aren't there at the end. But for whatever reason, in my mind, I could not stop saying Perfect Proposal. But it makes more sense to call it Perfect Proposal than Perfect Propose. Because Perfect Propose doesn't sound right. I'm getting really heated because we're going to talk about a different show on another episode that we're recording on the same day as this. And I think my heatedness just needs to come out a little bit. Anyway, guys, we're doing Perfect Proposal. Yay! What? Well, I said proposal? We're doing Perfect Propose. God damn it! Just start the episode. Okay. Here we go. Hiro's so stressed out at work that he can barely have proper meals or get some well-earned sleep. When he passes out on the sidewalk after yet another stressful day, a familiar face calls out to him. Apparently, they once promised to marry each other. What's Kai's deal, and why is he so insistent on assuming the role of Hiro's fiancé? So Perfect Propose, I almost said proposal, but I caught myself. I will say it's definitely a show that kind of shows how bad the work environment in Japan is. And what kind of drives me crazy about it is that unfortunately it's being done in a BL. I know I was fixing my leg. And I feel like when they show them in shows like this, maybe not unfortunately it's in a BL. I don't know how often BLs are viewed in Japan as opposed to like Thailand and all that, but it's not going to be taken seriously. And I don't understand why after all these years Japan doesn't take how bad the work ethic is over there seriously, because they are at an alarming like decline in birth rate because people are overworking themselves and then themselves, that the Japanese population as a whole, as a people, is going to slowly disappear. I think I've heard or read that like in the next 30 or so years, there are going to be more elderly people in Japan as opposed to young people. Which then becomes funny because apparently they're very anti-foreigner. And I'm not saying foreigners should go over there and like populate the people with Japanese people. It's more or less when they're against tourism or tourists coming in or people moving over there. And this is not me vouching because I know I've talked about wanting to move over there. But it's very clear that they're against it. But yet we're the ones bringing in like the financial... we're helping the economy by bringing in money because the yen is so weak. We spend the most money over there. And it helps them out a little bit. In Japan is so bad. It's so scary. And I know I want to work there, but I'm going to be an ESL teacher. And it's kind of the same in Korea. And it's one of the things where it's like, I guess it is what it is. I do still want to work overseas. But like the fact that the show opens with Hiro he's just laying on the floor in the middle of a busy street. Everyone just walks past. No one says anything. And it's normalized because the amount of TikTok videos I've seen of young people, whether it be because they were clubbing or just overworked afterwards, drinking with coworkers, just passed out. You'll see people leave water bottles and that Pecto Sweat, whatever, around them as a way to be like, take care of yourself. But it's scary. It's just so scary how normalized. And, you know, if Japan really wanted to fix itself, it should be less worried about a bunch of foreigners who are at their country, which is like less than 1%, and more worried about their people killing themselves because they're overworking and working 90 hours. Like there's literally a scene where he's working and his boss comes up to him and he's like, well, you need to do it now this way. And he goes, but that'll take me hours. He goes, are you not committed? Do you want me to give it to this one so that he can do it? And he's pointing to the new guy who, you know, he just started out. so innocent. Poor boy. And he's just like, no, I'll take it over. And it's like he's being such a pushover, and it's sad because he can't. It's kind of like the structure there. If you defend yourself, it's a problem. And sometimes they won't even, some companies. Have you ever heard of this, Ilya? They have this thing where when you get to a certain age, or instead of firing you, what they'll do is they'll give you meaningless work or no work at all, and you'll just go to the office every day doing nothing. And I've seen people say, "Oh, sounds like a dream." No, because they isolate you from like everybody until you either quit or you die, because they don't want to fire somebody, because then it's more paperwork and it's more hard work, and it's just insanity to me. How scary. It's normal to do that. It's just horrific. So he's laying on the street, and that's where Kai, his lovely childhood fiance, finally finds him. And I do think it's funny how he's like, doesn't remember him off the bat, because the last time they saw each other they were kids. But it's like, yeah, you're my friend Kai from childhood, because he lets him come to the house and he lets him sleep over. And apparently his mom like gave him the address. And I'm just like, it's not really stranger danger, but also like, this is concerning. What if the twist had been that this was like a thriller and Kai was like a murderer or something? But apparently he's been holding on to this like proposal for like 10 years because he really believed it, which I guess is sweet. So they start living together. So the reason why Kai is kind of living with them is because he was originally working at this restaurant, and the restaurant owner ended up getting hospitalized. I guess he had I want to say a heart attack or something. And the restaurant owner's son kind of kicks him out in a sense, and it's just like, we can't really have you around while he's recovering. And it's kind of giving off this whole suspicion of what is the son hiding? Is he hiding something? I will say, just not to drown it out, but to get it over with, it's anticlimactic. Out of everything in the show, this was the one thing that kind of disappointed me. And it was only 6 episodes, so I guess okay, I understand why it was quick and easy. But there's no big reveal. It's not like he's selling the restaurant. It was more or less that he was jealous because I guess his father really took Kai under his wing and kept the restaurant going for another 10 or so years just for him to have a place to live. And it's you could have just said that. You could have just made it clear that it was time to recover and that you wanted to, reconnect with your father in private. You didn't have to make it this whole thing. Make this poor boy feel bad for just existing, who just needed a home. It was so annoying. So throughout the series, we kind of watched Hiro and Kai's relationship kind of redevelop. Kai kind of becomes a sort of housewife, which I think is kind of sweet. He on the very first day cooks Hiro food, dinner, lunch, and they sleep together in the same room, not in the same bed at first. But he essentially makes it so that Hiro's life kind of becomes easier. He, is constantly getting a home cooked meal. He's no longer eating convenience store, which happens a lot with the businessmen there. They will only eat 7-Eleven food. They won't have proper meals. So they don't have time to make them. They have to be at work at 8 in the morning, and then sometimes they're there till midnight. There's literally a scene where I think they showed where twice where 2 of the company members were there overnight. So he starts improving his life better, and obviously he's still confused because they keep joking about how he's his fiance, and gay marriage is not legalized over there, so obviously he would always just in a sense be a fiance, I guess. But he's also just not sure on how he's supposed to feel, and he makes it very clear that while he's happy having him around, he's not sure what this relationship is. What are they? So to go back to the work ethic thing, I do think it's kind of sad how it starts off and it's his work. I will say the one sad thing, but the one good thing is that he has friends at work who are his friends. They do, because it's the only time they have spent time with each other is when they're at work. So they've kind of default become each other's friends. But that being said, there's one member of the team who he's close with who ends up leaving because he just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. And even tells him you need to leave. You are going to be made to be team leader next, and it's not worth it. Your talent, your hardworking is going to be wasted here, basically. And then you know what happens? He leaves, and then Hiro becomes team leader. And I'm mostly talking about the toxicity of the work culture because I want to get through all that before I talk about some of the cutesy. I mean, I've talked about some of the cutesy stuff, but continuing afterwards. But what makes it even sadder is that we go through them doing this like really hard project. And then the youngest member of the team, who's still very new, I think he's like fresh out of school and everything, he ends up burning out so bad that they tell him to go home. And he says to them, if I go home, I don't think I'm going to come back. And he doesn't come back. And they haven't like fired him. He hasn't technically quit. He's just kind of disappeared. So they get the project done and they're all just like, you know, we wish that so-and-so could have been here to finish. And I hope he's doing okay. That's how sad it is when it comes to like just the work culture. It's really sad. But on the flip side, it does start affecting his relationship with Kai, because the first, I think, week or so that he's living there, he's making like breakfast, lunch, and then dinner. Anytime Hiro comes home, he's got dinner ready for him. So he at one point makes yakisoba. Do you know what yakisoba is? I think we've had it together once, right? So he makes it for him, and he goes, Hiro goes, how it's his favorite meal to have at because they have it a lot in festivals. The only reason I learned about it is that I watched this episode of Our Regrets Go, and they end up having like a work time festival with all the departments have to make like stands, and the financial department does like a yakisoba stand, and it's really good. I like yakisoba. And he starts telling Kai how he likes it done when you go buy it at a festival, and Kai mentions how he's never been to a festival. It's just something he's ever done. And Kai mentions, Hiro mentions all the fun stuff they could do together. And he goes, we'll go together. We're going to go. And he goes, but don't you have to work? And he goes, and this is what's really sweet. He goes to work early. Like, he gets there before 6 a.m. His, like, teammates end up coming him afterwards and are surprised that he's already been there working so that he can leave on time. And as he's getting ready to leave, his boss stops him, says he has to do more work. And then by the time he leaves and is heading to the festival, and he lets Kai's know. It's not like he's letting him stranded there. By the time he gets to the festival, everything's being taken down. And he's like so depressed. He's so sad. And Kai, being, you know, I guess the partner that he really deserves, ended up going to the festival anyway to buy like the last container of yakisoba that one of the stands had. So he could at least have it. And Hiro tries to share it with him, but he's like, it's for you. And it's what makes their relationship so sweet is that, you know, they haven't seen each other in 10 years. Like, they're childhood friends. You know, Kai disappeared after after a while because his father moved away, and they haven't seen each other in so long. And then it's like this reconnection, even though it's like slowly built. You could tell that Kai's kind of harbored this love for him for so long, and kind of has like a fewer, like he kind of like, as soon as he got in, as soon as he moved in, he kind of knew what he needed and made it so that, you know, he wasn't a burden and fit into his lifestyle in a perfect way. As we go on, obviously I already mentioned kind of what happened with the restaurant owner. He held this restaurant open for Kai, and I couldn't remember this from the, like, by the time this happened. So when it comes to the work ethic and the relationship, Kai's only staying there until the owner kind of discharges, even though he's not going back. And it's very clear that he realizes that the owner of this restaurant only kept it going because of him. And he realizes that if he stays, you know, Hiro might feel obligated to stay working at this horrible business because he feels obligated taking care of Kai. But then the problem is, no, that's not the case. You've made his life better. You've done so much for him. And it's something Hiro takes too long, in my opinion, to kind of like figure out all on his own. I will say the actors do a really good job. Their chemistry is really cute. They work really well together. Especially not only just between the two of them, but the friendship between the co-workers. They really feel like a team. So plus that. The one thing that bothered me, I don't know if this is my sleep deprivedness, but so they would do flashbacks of the two of them when they were younger, so you can kind of see them like when they got together. I kept getting confused as to who is who because they both had black hair. And then when they got older, Kai has like blonde hair. The guy playing Hiro in some scenes looked way older than I thought he was supposed to look. And it kept confusing me. So I was like, how old is Hiro and Kai like separately? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they mentioned it in the book. Because BTW, if you didn't know, this was based on a manga. But he just looked a little bit older, like a teenager talking to this elementary school student. So I was like, you know, they were sweet together. They had fun, but it just looked kind of off. I would say to talk a little bit about their little friendship. So Hiro becomes friends with Kai. He's obviously a little bit older than him, and Kai's kind of a loner because he doesn't really have a good family life. And one day his dad just tells him that they have to move away for some reason. I can't remember what exactly. And he doesn't let Hiro know because he doesn't want Hiro to be sad that he's moving away. And I thought that was kind of sad. But he remembered him after all those years, and so I thought that it was really well done. I will say, despite me being like, this kid is a little too older than I would anticipate. But okay, so the one scene I will say that I've been avoiding talking about that made me laugh. I need to pull up the dude, see they do it in the manga. By the way, ASMR book flip. Is it working? Can you hear it? Ugh.
That's scary.
How is it scary? It's let me see if we're gonna hear it.
Like ASMR.
That sounds so peaceful. All right, you know what? Lilia is just ick. Go back to looking at your Namjoon thirst traps.
Don't say that.
Am I wrong? Is that not what you were doing like a minute ago?
No.
She's got such a look on her face that you know she's lying. Okay, so obviously it's a BL, so we would be amiss if there wasn't at least one little like saucy scene. And in the book, so I guess to kind of compare some things to the manga, I did read the manga a while ago. I was hoping to read it before recording this, but I just did not have time. It pretty much is beat for beat. There doesn't seem to be too many differences, besides maybe a few added scenes here and there. But obviously there's more than one like sex scene in it. But I think it's like one in the beginning and then like a couple in the end. So like this is on the first night that this boy like moves it, or like the second time. So Hiro has trouble sleeping, which makes sense. He's overworked, you're stressed. When that happens, you can't sleep. Do you know what's the perfect way to relieve yourself in terms of helping you sleep, Lilia? What is it? Do you know what it is?
Hot tea.
No.
Melatonin.
No. Well, yes, but no. Something you can do to yourself.
Oh. Weed.
I'm gonna hit her.
I don't know.
Masturbation.
Oh, ew.
Yeah. So, in case the YouTube people are listening, we are talking about masturbation in a, what was it that we had to say it in?
Education.
In an educational way. So yes, if you help yourself out, it usually helps you in terms of sleeping. And it's kind of true because you relieve yourself and you're less, there's less tensity in your body. So Kai kind of gives him a helping hand. What's crazy to me is that this is kind of one of those scenes where you can kind of put in the conversation of like, was this consent or was this not? When it comes to like BL scenes, because Hiro basically tells him no, and Kai doesn't stop, which obviously is not consent. But they treat it like it's whatever. Like he does it and then he knocks out and then they're like, oh, you have this glow to you. And he kind of like okay with it. But it's very much like, that is technically assault, I guess. That's like the one like negative thing where I'm just like, to me, he said no multiple times. I think once you say no, if you're having to continuously push someone to like get them to do it, it's a problem. Like even looking at it in the book sense, yeah, he constantly is saying to cut it out. So it's one of those scenes where it's like, luckily it's not like overshown in the show and it's very quick and done. And then the next time they kind of have like an intimate scene together, it's when they kiss in public in the park. But and then in the last like 2 or 3 scenes, they do get together and like have sex, but we don't see it. That's like the one scene where I'm like, this doesn't seem like a very safe start to a relationship. If you are telling him that, hey, you proposed to me 10 years ago, I'm moving in. Your mom is telling you to let him move in. Yeah, he's cooking and everything, and he's like okay with it later. It just kind of all sorts of is like against as well, which kind of ruins the whole like sweet aspect of the story to me. But I digress, I guess. Whatever. But not whatever. No, it's not like that's something that should be taken seriously in any aspect. And I think that is a conversation that needs to be more done, not only in like in BLs in general, because we do see this a lot in like Thai BLs and everything, where consent is kind of like a second thought, or it's just not as like clear coded, and that can be very dangerous. So. But yeah, I think that one added thing from the show that I don't think is in the book, and I'm kind of looking through to try to see. So because they didn't get to go to the festival, one of the things that they were going to do was that there's a game that you can win like a goldfish, and Kai buys like a fish tank, and they end up using it to grow vegetables. So the one thing that I thought was kind of like would have been a better ending in terms of the restaurant is that. So, like I said, Hiro quits. Why didn't they think about keeping the restaurant open? Because Kai very clearly can cook. Like, he's making all these meals and on his own and everything. Why couldn't they have spoken to the son and been like, hey, we want to keep your father's restaurant running. Why don't we take over? Because from my assumption, it's a nearby restaurant. It doesn't seem like it's too far off from where Hiro is living. And I'm pretty sure they could have found like a place, or there's an apartment, I think, in the restaurant. I don't understand why they didn't just move in and like take over the restaurant. Because he has no job by the end of it. Like, I don't know how they're going to maintain their income. I guess it's like open-ended in that way. But that's what I thought was kind of like silly, that they could have just that could have been a better ending than just like he quit and he's now healthy because he quit. Because there was an opening there. There was an opening for them to like take over the restaurant, make food together. Hiro is like the business type. They could have easily run it. But yeah. So that's kind of like everything I have about the show. It's a very simple 6 episode. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they're about 20, like less than 30 minutes long. So it is a show you can knock out in a night. It's currently on Gaga Ulala. There is an English translation of the manga. It was really funny. So I bought this actually last year. I went to Anime NYC. I bought a Saturday ticket, and Kinokuniya had a booth. And I went in to like get, I think they were selling some stuff for Watiko's like 10th anniversary, because like my favorite manga. And I ended up seeing it, and I was like, I know what show that is. I need to get it. And it's a really cute short manga as well. It's a one shot. I think it's like a couple hundred pages, like not even 200. It's like less than 200 pages. So it's a quick read. It's like I said, it's other than that one scene, it's a really well written, well done, well filmed show. I don't have too much to say about it just because it's really quick, but I definitely recommend it if you want something that's like sweet, kind of slice of life, but kind of holds a lot in conversation in terms of like work life and things like that, and the overstressedness and building a relationship and all that. My only thing, like I kind of mentioned, my two little things on it was just the non-consenting in that one scene that kind of was like very iffy. Which it shouldn't be excused. Even if it happens a lot in other BLs, it should never be excused. I think it's a conversation that needs to be have. And then the other thing is just the anticlimacticness of the restaurant owner's son being like, basically being just like, I was like jealous of you. And just that's why I didn't want to run or like, I just wanted my father to get better without feeling pressured to quickly get better so that he could open the restaurant for you. Like, it just seemed anticlimactic. I was kind of waiting for him to be like, ha ha ha, I'm going to sell the restaurant and against my father's wishes or something, because the owner, I will say the one thing I didn't mention, the owner did call him and was like, yeah, I'm retiring. And that was kind of like, they were like, okay. And it's like a sweet show. And I guess the last thing is just how they get back together. It's really quick. It's kind of like rushed through because, he says he's going to leave and move out because he doesn't want to be a burden. And then Hiro's like, you're not a burden. You're the reason why I've gotten better. You know what's funny? We did Me and Thee like 2 weeks ago. We did Me and Thee like a while back, and that had a wind chime in it as like a piece of like the one thing that they got each other. They do that too here. They get like a wind chime to put on the door so that way They know when the wind's going. It's like really sweet background thing. I always love when that's like the little like gift between partners. I think it's like a nice little piece. It's very simple, very quiet. So I just wanted to bring that up before I forgot it. So that's kind of the end of my whole thing there. Rating time. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. I feel like it's really well done. It's just those like because it's really quick. I feel like there was a lot that was rushed and a lot that just could have been better done. I guess I don't know. But it's still a fun, sweet little show. I recommend reading the manga, although it does get more graphic towards the end. But it's just like if you want a quick little sweet BL, this is the one that I think that works really well if you can get past like the other things. And yeah, so for my song of the week, I kind of wanted to pick something that was kind of like proposal wedding-esque like vibes, but not completely, because obviously it's kind of like a long-standing proposal or propose as the title states. So I picked POV by Ariana Grande. I feel like if you listen to the lyrics, it kind of fits the two of them really well and how they are getting together and things like that. And yeah, I think it kind of works. The more that I listen to it, I think this is definitely the song for them. So yeah, and Lord knows I love me some Ariana Grande. You know, we love our Glinda here. So I think that's going to be it for this week's episode. It was kind of a quick one because it's a very simple one, which we love to do here. It's less for Lilia to edit. Lilia, do you have anything you want to add?
Woo!
That's right. All right, everybody. So I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for this entry. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. On Twitter, you can find us at FG Diaries Pod. On Tumblr, TikTok, and Instagram, you'll find us at FG Diaries Podcast. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and hope you all have a wonderful fangirly day.